Hello and welcome to our Hangout on Air. I'm Mary Beth at the Law of Attraction Club, and we're on the web at the loaclub.com. This is the start of week 3 of our money challenge. It is day 15, call number 17, and the topic is, how's your awareness going? These Hangouts on Air are usually a presentation of our theme for the week, and we collaborate with our friends Tara. You can get invites to our open calls, which we offer periodically, and our powerful free letting go process by going to the loaclub.com. So now we're going to begin, and welcome Robin and Tara.
Welcome to day 15, call number 7. At this midpoint of our 4-week Make More Money challenge, let's review what we're on about here. We're on about who you are fundamentally and foundationally. And we're on about building on that foundation to discover that there's nothing you cannot be, do, or have. And you bees it or does it or haves it by firstly choosing to believe that you can, and secondly by practicing that choice deep into the fabric of your consciousness. Our particular focus in these 4 weeks is to have you apply that knowledge to create prosperity in your world, for you and for whomever else you want to include in that. But of course, it always begins with you. You might be thinking, why do I need to go into all of this complex consciousness stuff to get what I want? Can't it just be simple? Isn't it all about mind over matter, being positive, seeing the glass as half full, being a Pollyanna instead of a Scrooge? To which we say, it's not all about that, but yes, that's an excellent place to start. If you choose to always reach for that better feeling thought, you'll do very well. So why do we keep bringing up this complex story about reality? We do it because consistently finding better feeling thoughts is not so easy to do. Maybe it works for the small stuff, but then along comes some Trumpian anomaly and the world dumps on you. Then we come along and say, you can have it all. And then your questions start. And if your only philosophy is that starter version, there are no adequate answers to those questions. That starter philosophy might appear to be simple, but when the chips are down, it does not provide a logical or reliable chart with which you can navigate through life. We're going to paraphrase an Abraham quote from this week because it is the simple truth. It's not that you've learned what to expect from your experience of the reality you're living in. It's the other way around. You're living the reality you've created by what you've chosen to believe and expect. We encourage you to see that this is not a complex idea. A huge idea? Maybe. An idea that may take some time to assimilate? Maybe. A radical idea? Maybe. An idea that totally turns upside down much of the way you think about the world? Maybe. An idea that challenges alike the belief of atheists and the basic premise of most religions? Maybe. But at the core of it all, it's elegantly simple. You're living the reality you create by what you choose to believe and expect. In other words, by law of attraction, wanted or unwanted, what you attract moment by moment into your experience is a world uniquely designed by your thoughts. What you expect becomes. So how do you create something new? You make a new belief choice and practice it until it's been woven into the fabric of your consciousness. Here's what we mean by that. Let's take prosperity as an example. You'll be walking past the store or flipping through a catalogue. Your eyes will see an expensive item that might appeal to you, but without conscious thought, you walk right past it or flip the page. Who made the decision to do that? Your subconscious made that decision, because what it knows is that you can't afford it. You think you're consciously reading that catalogue, but you're not. You're scanning it subconsciously and waiting for your subconscious to say, pay attention. Now let's say you receive the great news. You're about to get a windfall. You won the lottery, or your great aunt has died and left you a fortune. Now what happens when you pick up that catalogue? Unless you make the decision to start reading it consciously, and you could, and you might, but unless you do, nothing will be different. Your well-trained subconscious will be excluding you from things you want, even though they're now eminently havable. And so it is with the catalogue of your life. Your expectations are woven into that tapestry, and your dutiful subconscious is flipping you past those very havable things you want. And of course, the truth is, everything is havable. So how did all those old suboptimal belief choices get made? To understand that, let's look at two versions of your life story. We'll call this version 1, the one world version. Your parents mated. You were conceived and born a flesh and blood human being in a certain country and city on a certain date and time into a space-time physical world. Then you grew up and learned about the complexities of the world and what you needed to do to survive and thrive. You did the best you could to be happy. And today you're still doing the best you can to be happy. Then there's version 2. Let's call it the non-physical version. You were excited about the idea of creating new things. And in order to be able to powerfully exercise that creative ability, you chose to shape your consciousness into what we could call a thinking mind and a background mind. To function, you depend almost totally on that powerful background status quo mind that you train to handle the mundane details. Because although all your choices are made in your thinking mind, its power is limited. And instead of being able to see timelessly across all versions of you and your universes, now you see that just this one version as it progresses through time. The focus is narrow, and the contrast and the desire is intense. What a hoot. And along the way, some of you got so caught up in that mesmerizing one world story, you forgot why you chose it. And now, if you don't feel like God, it's because you've over-practiced the idea of being a human. If you don't feel you can change the world, it's because you've over-practiced the idea that there's a reality out there you have to deal with. It's been practice, 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 and more practice. You get the idea. This is why it seems so real. So now, to change a few things, it's time, just a little, to practice the truth. But first, you need to accept the truth for what it is. Everyone, and you're in that group, everyone lives the reality they expect. So how is your awareness going? By which we mean, are you getting closer to an ongoing and ever-present awareness of who you are, the power you have, and the thoughts you need to think to bring more money into your experience? Of course, that phrase, ongoing and ever-present, means that you need to pass that task over to your subconscious, because your conscious mind does not have the CPU cycles it needs to do that while you're engaging with the world. Mastery comes when that subconscious of yours is no longer excluding you from a whole stack of exciting and limitless possibilities. We're going to recite words from some of our guided awareness audios. If you've been using those audios, notice how your mind begins to dance with these words. I'm a consciousness that is part of the collective consciousness of Source. Source is a river, and I'm a tributary that feeds into and flows from that river. I'm a part of the endless stream that is God. This is the ultimate truth of who I am. This is the only thing that's fundamentally true about me in all realms across a timeless universe. This is the only thing that I am and can ever be, and yet it is everything. With these words, I experience my connection and my oneness with infinity. I am allowing myself right now to be aware of who I am. I exist as a thought. What I choose to think creates me and my worlds. Everything is as I choose it to be. My desires and intentions and my chosen beliefs and expectations shape the individuation that is me, and the context that surrounds me is a mirror of those beliefs and expectations. I exist as a thought, and everything that exists around me exists as a thought. It is my thoughts that create the physical me in this physical world, with all of its actions and sequences and beginnings and ends and time that marches on. And so even as I acknowledge that I am an action-oriented being in an action-oriented world, I also acknowledge that what shapes my existence is simply my thoughts. Good. Now, everything is as I choose it to be does not mean everything as I want it to be. If that were true, you would not be here, because you came here for the fun of creating new things. Contrast is what stimulates desire, and desire is what propels you forward. Everything is as I choose it to be is simply an acknowledgement that you are the one in charge, that you are the one making the choices. You're acknowledging a fundamental fact of life, that the law of attraction is the organizing principle of everything that exists, and that it's the source of the inherent and absolute power that you have. As we run around the room shortly, we'll be inviting you to tell us 3 things. 1, we'll be asking where you are on a 1 to 5 scale in consciously agreeing with the enormity of that statement. Everything is as I choose it to be. and where you are 1 to 5 in terms of your deep down subconscious alignment with the truth of that statement. 2. These 4 weeks are about you achieving prosperity, whatever that means for you. In which probability bucket do you have it sitting right now? From impossible, improbable, to possible, to probable, to certain. And 3, how can we help you move that up a bucket or 2? This journey is about changing what you know. In other words, it's about changing just some of the fabric in that deep-seated subconscious tapestry that tells a story. It's the current story of your life, but there's nothing absolute about that story. It's the one you made up. As you start this journey, you begin to unmake it. As you unmake it, the limitations of it become more and more transparent. And the innate sense of what you just plain know as facts begins to unravel. And that's not a scary thought, because if you know what it really means, it's exhilarating beyond words. It's exhilarating beyond words. It's exhilarating beyond words. The thought of unraveling some of that tapestry of yours is a vibrant and exciting thought. It's the beginning of a flood of understanding of the words we've been using over and over. It's the beginning of true, ever-present, ongoing awareness. It's the beginning of the better it gets, the better it gets. It's you finding yourself in the place you intended to be and having the time of your life. It's the beginning of wow. Let's move now to our check-ins.
This hangout on air was the summary of our theme for the week. We do 3 live calls a week with Q&A for our members on Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays. You too can become a member by going to the loaclub.com/join. So now our longer discussion continues with Q&A, and we're on our money challenge week 3. So we're going to go over to our member line and back over to you, Robin and Tara.